Welcome to the Rise Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rose Wild. The Rise Wild podcast is for the spiritually led and business minded woman. From new thought leaders to ancient wisdom keepers, we weave together a diverse tapestry of feminine power through soul nourishing conversations, leaving you educated, inspired, and empowered to rise wild. In this podcast episode, we're going to be exploring the topic of how to awaken the divine feminine in your business. Now, this is something that is at the center of Rise Wild, my brand, where I work with feminine leaders and business owners in turning their business and their leadership into the divine feminine and alignment with their cyclical nature. So, what is the divine feminine? Well, the divine feminine is that quintessential feminine essence that we all possess deep within us that transcends beyond the wounded patterns that we have as women. And so, awakening the divine feminine in our business means that we move beyond our conditioning, our own limitations, our traumas, and operate from a deeper place of spiritual wisdom in terms of our femininity. Now, the divine feminine has many different forms in lots of different areas of the world. You can see her throughout different traditions in history as the goddess, the many faces of the goddess. And what you'll notice if you become familiar with goddess worship and the different traditions that there have been is that there are goddesses for different aspects of the divine feminine, right? We have the more classical, pleasure filled, beauty filled goddesses such as Lakshmi. And then we have other goddesses such as Kali and the Morrigan in the Celtic tradition, which represent the dark goddess or the dark feminine, which welcomes in death as part of the feminine cyclical nature and understands that destruction is necessary if we want to be constantly transforming and in our feminine creative energy. And so, what we can understand from this is that the divine feminine is both fierce and life giving. She takes life away, but she also gives life itself. And so, the different faces of the feminine mean that we can embody many different parts of ourselves whilst being in our divine feminine. It doesn't just have to be love and light. And in fact, that's a dangerous way to go because we could be feeding into our good girl conditioning and people pleasing conditioning that holds us back from really stepping into being the main character of our life and being the powerful feminine leader that we are always meant to be. So, as I'm talking about awakening the divine feminine in your business, I want you to understand that it's not just about being nice, it's about being powerful, it's about being your most conscious and aware and developed self in your business as a woman, right? So, how do we awaken the divine feminine in our business? I'm going to tell you just now. So, the first thing is that we need to become aware of our cycles as women. So, of course, we have our menstrual cycle and we know where we are in time and space through our menstrual cycle. So, we have our bleed, which is our personal winter, and we have our ovulation, which is our personal summer. And then we have autumn and spring either side. So, when we learn to move with our natural rhythms, with our cycle, and align our business tasks, our strategies, our schedules, and everything that we plan in our lives and businesses to be in harmony with our cyclical nature, we amplify and harness our power as women. And so this extends beyond just your menstrual cycle. So if you can harness the power of the moon, you will know how to really use it in terms of when you launch things. For example, the new moon is a great time to set intentions or to start something new so that you can then actualize it and birth it in the full moon. So you might launch your program in the full moon, and then you would evaluate in the waning moon after the full moon as it descends back down towards the new moon. And this is the same as how you can align things to your menstrual cycle. You can even extend this wisdom to the seasons as well. If you live in the northern or southern hemisphere and you experience profound season changes, you can align your business to the seasons so that when you're in winter, you get to rest and restore, and then you can expand even more in the summer because you have done that. So that's the first layer of awakening the divine feminine in your business, is really understanding the earth cycles, the feminine cycle, the lunar cycle, and how that is not only good to be aware of in your business, but that it actually holds this secret source, this secret power to supercharge all of your creations. So, your feminine cycles is the first way that you can awaken the divine feminine in your business. The second thing is to transform discipline into devotion. So often we get too in our masculine because we are become rigid, we become strict with our routine and overly disciplined. And this means we come out of our body and really in the mind, and we're really kind of gridlocked with our thoughts, and we're just thinking, thinking, thinking. We're not feeling, we're not in the moment, and we're not able to process things on the somatic level, which actually we really, really need to as women. And so, how we work with that when we have too much discipline and too much rigidity in our lives and in our businesses is to transmute that, transform that into devotion. Devotion is the act of an action towards the highest purpose without an intended outcome. So you aren't devoting yourself so that you get something back in return. You're in devotion to your purpose, to your vision, to your mission, because this is your prayer. This is your offering, if you like, to the earth. And bhakti yogis know about this in terms of devotion. It's very beautiful practice. You can do this in partnership, in romantic love, but you can also do this in your business. And this is something that I practice and I teach with my clients and my students, and I see how powerful it is. And it really transforms the mundane into the magical. So everything can become like a ritual, right? If you sit at your desk ready to work rather than feeling all uptight in your body, how can you create devotion into that, an intention for your day? Whether that is lighting a candle, lighting some incense, laying the scene. This is how you spend your days. And if your business is a dream business and your vision is towards bettering the earth, then actually everything you do in that business, whether it's even answering emails, recording content, whatever it might be, you are in devotion to that higher vision. And so remember that in all of your actions, right? So devotion over discipline. That's the way to awaken divine feminine in your business. The third thing, and we touched upon it a little bit earlier, is coming home to the body and valuing feeling as much as thinking, right? So when you have a decision to make, when you are hiring someone or or deciding if you're going to collaborate with someone, or whatever it might be in your business, can you allow yourself to feel into it rather than to rationalize it? Because your body knows the answer to things. And this is how we process information as women, is we just feel it in our womb, we feel it in our gut, we just feel it in our skin. For example, I get goosebumps every time I know that something's a full body yes. It's like a rush up my spine. And I know feels like a contraction in my belly or just an uncertainty. And so I have a motto that if it's not a full body yes, then it's a no, right? Or it's a not yet. And that has come through my journey into embodiment. And so, prioritizing your embodiment, your felt sense, the sensations in your body that give you the answers, the messages towards what is expansive, what feels right, what doesn't, needs to be valued because the divine feminine works through this ways. It's called clairsentience, right? And all of us women have an access sense to this magical realm of intuition. And it could be through, like I was just saying, the felt sense, it could be through sound, it could be that you see visuals, it could be that you have dreams and you receive messages through your dreams. So, it's really important that we value feeling as much as thinking, right? It's not that thinking's bad, but most of us are overly dominated when it comes to our brain body balance by the brain, by the mind. And so we need to just drop down into the body and make it part of the conversation, right? So, related to that is that we also need to value being, just being in this moment, savoring the senses, awake and tasting everything and seeing everything and hearing everything, feeling our bodies, being as much as doing. We are human beings. You will have heard me say this before. We're human beings. We're not human doings, but we forgot. What does boredom even mean? A boredom for me, and through my years of being a psychotherapist and seeing with my clients, and I really get down to the nitty gritty of what does boredom mean? It's often a sense of restlessness and being uncomfortable in one's own skin. And that is a symptom of not being comfortable in or feeling worthy in just being, just existing and resting and receiving and savoring and doing as you feel in the moment, right? Now, often we get validated from a very young age. A question is asked to us, what are you doing today? We go to school, the agenda's written on the blackboard, we're told do this, do that, and then we get a sense of validation, accomplishment from it. But very rarely at a young age are we taught how to sit with ourselves, how to meditate, how to feel our emotions, how to be with ourselves, get to know ourselves. And so this is the way that the divine feminine moves. She moves through slowness and through the silence, the space between things. And when you have the courage to simply be and slow down and savor the present moment through your senses, this is also a way how we cultivate feminine magnetism by slowing down and savoring the moment and being. So there's so much richness to be discovered through this process of transitioning from doing to being. Now, I don't mean that you just don't do anything in your business. Of course, that's ridiculous. There's things that need to be done, but there's a time and place for it. And we need to exercise and activate our inner masculine to be able to hold the frame for when that is. So we're doing at these hours, we're doing at this point in our cycle, but at this point at the end of the day, or at this point in our cycle when we're bleeding, we are being, we are feeling, we are prioritizing insight and listening and meditation and shamanic journeying, which we have many practices of within the Rise Wild membership. If you're curious, you can click the link in my channel, or you can go to www.rosewild.co /Rise Wild method. But it's really about allowing yourself permission to just be and to really feel in your bones that you are worthy without having to do one thing. And I know that you can understand that rationally, and you might hear me talking about this and like, yeah, I get it, I get it. But do you feel it? Do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it in your bones? Yes, I'm worthy, and I don't feel guilty for switching off my phone on airplane mode and just going inward and journaling or listening to music and dancing or whatever it might be, spending a day out in nature. So I encourage you to really challenge yourself with that. Those emails can wait. Those clients aren't going to go anywhere just after a few hours. In fact, I've had so many experiences with myself and with my clients where they've actually slowed down and switched off and come back into rest and digest and feeling themselves and feeling their intuition. And that energetic shift, rather than being in hustle and grind and doing, that energetic shift into creation and being and feeling and processing creates this opening for new opportunities, for new avenues, or even just new ways of considering things. Okay. So, yeah, we need to be being as much as doing in our business if we want it to be aligned with or harnessed by the divine feminine. Now, the next thing that is super important and in the foundations of any divine feminine business is that your mission and your vision has to be for the highest good. So your product, your service, whatever it is that you provide needs to be in the service for creating a better world, because the divine feminine, the goddess, is only interested in this. She is here for healing the planet. She's here for bringing balance to our very out of balance world. Okay? So if your mission and your vision is selfish and it's not actually around creating healing or expansion or improving the lives of people, then it isn't a divine feminine business. You need to dig a little bit deeper, get to know yourself a little bit more through really healing your womb space, connecting with your inherent gifts, and trying to understand how you can use those gifts to help other people. And that's what really gives you the energy to move forwards as a feminine entrepreneur, because it's a wild ride, it's a roller coaster, it's ups and downs. It feels expansive one minute, it feels like the rug has been pulled from underneath your feet the next. And to not have a big vision that is for the highest good is just not going to get you through. So you need to have that as like a North Star that guides you in those moments of darkness and picks you back up when you feel like falling down. So, the final thing in your business, in order for you to awaken the divine feminine, is to empower other women. So, the divine feminine does not compete, she collaborates, she celebrates other women. She doesn't feel intimidated by their magnificence, their talents, their beauty, their strength, their success. Instead, she feels inspired and wants to elevate them and empower them. So, if you are a woman who feels you have what I call comparativitis, this horrible condition where you're constantly comparing yourself with other women, I get it. It can be really horrible. But can you transmute that and lean in to that woman to get to know her more and find ways potentially you could collaborate, or even they could become your mentor if they're further down the path than you? So we really need to find ways to make peace with other women who are in our field and to rise together. This is the really a massive part of my vision with Rise Wild. It is around us rising together, right? Descending down into our womb spaces, getting to know our individual feminine essence, and then rising together to empower each other to share that with the world and to claim your freedom. So, we've had a lot of different points here in today's video around what you can integrate into your business in order to create a divine feminine business. So, just to retrack, we have the connection with your feminine cycle and the moon and aligning your business strategy with that feminine cycle. We have transmuting discipline into devotion every single day so that you can bring magic into the mundane. We have feeling as much as thinking. So, valuing your felt sense and your body's intuition as much as your rational thought. We had being as much as doing. So, really allowing yourself to rest when you need to and slowing down to speed up. We had having a vision that is for the highest good with your business. And we had healing our relationship to other women and leaning into connection and collaboration over competition and comparison. I would love to know how these tips integrate into your business. Let me know in the comments what are the topics you would like to explore in the realms of feminine entrepreneurship, womb healing, and creating freedom in your life in location, finances, time in your business. I'm here to serve you. But until next time, I'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Rise Wild podcast. I've been your host, Rose Wild. If you liked today's episode and the topics we explored, and you're a visionary entrepreneur who desires to lead deeper from her feminine power, we would love to welcome you into the Rise Wild community, whether that's joining us for a retreat, receiving mentorship, or joining our thriving online community. You can learn more at www.rosewild.co/Rise Wild Method. See you soon.